Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Friday. This is Game Day Live, coming to you live from the attic at American Whiskey, 3rd floor. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Short Sky, left of the screen, right of the screen is Vinny Parisi at pucksandpitchforks.com. And we have Anthony LaPena and his kids Maverick and Fourre behind me, driving all the way from Kentucky. Big Devils fans, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Devils taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins, Game 79. Guys, the last game was a big loss, but the Devils did clinch because the Flyers finally did something right, and they beat the New York Rangers in, let's just say, how many goals did that one guy have, Vinny? 3? It was a Forrester that scored?
Yep, Tyson Forrester had a hat trick to defeat the New York Rangers.
Yeah. So it was kind of bittersweet because you kind of want to win. It's kind of like Ovechkin wanting that goal instead of an empty net goal to break the record. But you kind of want to beat the Boston Bruins. But you know what? It didn't work out. But bottom line, the Devils have clinched.
The Devils have clinched. They're going to the playoffs for the second time in 3 years. So that's always what people want to hear. It's a young team. They've had some injuries. They've had their ups and downs. But the fact of the matter remains is they are one of the top 8 teams in the Eastern Conference once again.
Yeah, and Tuesday was a bad game, but you know what? Get that out of the way now before the playoffs start. This way that you're not doing that in the first round of the playoffs, and you can get those bad games out of the way and start strong once you get to the to game 1 of the first round.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, it's been a whirlwind of a week. I mean, the Devils losing to the Boston Bruins, and then the Rangers losing. So, Devils clinching that spot. And then on Thursday, my Penn State Nittany Lions playing Boston University in the Frozen Four, and we saw the future there because. How do you pronounce his last name? Is it Yegerov? Yegerov. He was fantastic. I think 32 out of 33 saves. Just seeing LaChance play as well. What a game yesterday. Just kind of looking at the Devils' future.
I can't wait for that kid to make it a debut.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he's the answer we've been waiting for in goal. We've got Markstrom for, this year, next year. And then after that, I think it's 1 year left, or he's going to have to re-up, but he's not here forever. So if Yegerov is the guy, I'm all for it.
Yeah, 100%. He really is good. I mean, BU was dead in the water when he joined, back in January. I think it was right around the Bean Pot. He had a couple starts under his belt right before the Bean Pot, and he dominated his way through that. They kind of had a resurgence in the second half. And Mikhail Yegerov was a big reason for that. And you know what good goaltending can do for you. We've seen some of these guys come in from Russia across the league, talking about Sorokin, obviously Vasilevsky, Shesterkin, and hey, they've become a goalie factory. When that was kind of their Achilles heel, back in the early 2010s. So, I remember if some of those Russian teams had some good goaltending, they might have won a gold medal. So it's interesting to see where they've come in that department. But, I mean, hey, for the Devils, just keep developing them. Don't rush them too soon. You do have Markstrom for the rest of this year and all of next year. Nico Dawes is there. We'll see what else they're able to come up with. You could always make other trades and whatnot like they did with Markstrom. And make sure Yegorov is ready. I can't wait to see him play in the championship against a much older, more experienced Western Michigan team on Saturday night.
Yeah, and if you look at what Bobrovsky has shown us, that you can play very effective goaltending, beyond 36. So to see Markstrom get a 1 or 2 year deal here and there, from the Devils after this current contract's up wouldn't surprise me. Obviously depending on his fitness and depending on Dawes's development, and then where Yeageroff is as far as his development. So it wouldn't shock me to see Markstrom here for another 3 years after this one. But also, it depends on his health. It depends on how well he's playing, and it depends on how well he's keeping his body over the course of the next couple of years. So it's yet to be seen, but it's possible because Bobrovsky has showed us that you can win a cup at 36 and still play well even after that.
Absolutely.
So we got the Penguins
Sam, I'm
tonight.
sorry. Yeah, really quick, Sam, I'm sorry about Penn State. I mean,
I'm not.
the program is just in such a good spot, though.
You know what? You're going to go through some growing pains. They took it one extra step, getting into the Frozen Four, representing the only Big Ten team when you have teams like Michigan State, Michigan, Wisconsin. The Big Ten's loaded with top hockey schools. Being such a young program, getting into the Frozen Four. And look, it was only 3-1 because of an empty netter. It was a 2-1 game in the third period. They made it close, but when you have an elite goaltender like Yeageroff in net, coached by Jay Pandolfo, former Devil and Stanley Cup champion, you couldn't. They didn't. I was expecting them to be blown out. To be honest, I was not expecting them to keep it close. And you know what? Anything could happen. Anything could have happened in that game. But look, they didn't embarrass themselves in their first appearance in the Frozen Four. That's for sure.
Fun fact for you, Jay Pandolfo has been involved in the Frozen Four 6 times. Or has been a member of BU as a player or coach 6 times. All 6 times they made it to the Frozen Four.
He's never failed to do that. And I really liked it as a former Devil in coaching Yeageroff, who is one of our top goalie prospects. I think that's a really huge thing because he can start preparing them for the culture here in New Jersey and have a connection not only through Yeageroff's our ownership of his rights, but also Pandolfo, a well-loved veteran of this New Jersey Devils team. So I think that's a great combination there for him.
Absolutely. And Shorts Guy, you touched on the fact that tonight they play the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yes.
It'd be odd not to mention that these are the 2 teams that Ray Sherrill was the general manager of. And his impact is still felt by both teams to this day. Crosby had some really nice things to say. He owes his NHL existence to Ray Sherrill. He would have been drafted by somebody else, but his existence in the NHL with the Devils, that's all by Ray Sherrill making that decision. Sam, you posted a nice picture of yourself with Ray Sherrill this morning. What are your thoughts on this whole matchup tonight, and what, the way they've got the patches for Ray on the helmets tonight, and it just seems like they're doing a real good job honoring what was such a good hockey person.
And it's kind of weird how they're playing the Pittsburgh Penguins.
It's so strange. And the Wilds have a chance to clinch.
Yeah, it's interesting, the timing of it. Is it coincidence? There's no conspiracy here. That's not what I'm alluding to. Normally I would be, but look. I have my Ray Sherrill story was I made that sign, and believe it or not, I showed Hugh Weber, the president of the time, of the picture. He sent it to Ray, and Ray didn't know what FF meant in the sign because it was like new sheriff in town, but he didn't get it. I don't think anybody got it, to be honest with you, but I thought it was funny. And he thought FF meant something. I can't say it on air. And I remember Hugh Weber showing me, and I got a good laugh out of it. So my only Ray Sherrill story is I believe that he had a really good sense of humor. And also, he grew up with the Flyers alumni and their kids. And I remember listening to him on a podcast of Bernie Perrant's daughter, Kim Perrant. And they were like a tight-knit family where the kids would play. And Fred Shero being the coach at the time, his kids were playing with all the Flyers players' kids, the Broad Street Bullies. And, they had a lot of memories. So, and Bill Clement, he and I traded texts when I told him the news. He said that he was a wonderful, wonderful human being, a class act, Ray Sherrill. because he's doing well.
Shorts guy.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have a situation like the passing of Ray Shero, and then the Devils played the Penguins shortly thereafter. So it's just sometimes those things just line up, and I think today is one of those days. I would imagine they're going to have a moment of silence or something to honor him before the game, and then both teams will play, and he's left a legacy on both these franchises. So I think that it'll be well timed, well deserved, and something that both teams will take a moment to do, because I know the Devils posted a picture of Nico and Sid's helmets together in honor of Ray Shero today. So I think that'll be, the timing is odd, but I think the timing is perfect.
Absolutely. And so they're going to play this Pittsburgh Penguins team who is absolutely not going to the playoffs. They've been on a steady decline over the last 3 years. This will be the third year in a row that the Pittsburgh Penguins don't make it to the playoffs. You might remember the last time they were in the playoffs, they choked a 3-1 lead to the New York Rangers when Artemi Panarin scored in overtime. It's not the same Pittsburgh team that we've become used to seeing as hockey fans in the last 20 years or so. Sid just locked up his 20th straight point per game season. They still have Evgeny Malkin and Christopher Letang and Erik Karlsson, who all play very well. The Devils are going to have their work cut out for them due to that fact, but this is a team that the Devils should be able to find some points against, and not that it matters at all. They're locked into being the road team in the first round against the Carolina Hurricanes. They can't move up or down in any way, but you want to go into the playoffs playing well, so I think this is a good test.
Yeah, it absolutely is. This is one of those games where the Devils need to win only because they need to be going into the playoffs playing well, like you said. You got to start treating this like it's the playoffs. You got to look at every situation, maybe break it down by period. This is, the things you want to use, and the methods, the systems you want to use in the first round of the playoffs. You start doing that here because you have that opportunity, because you're not fighting for that spot. Like you said, Vin, you're locked in. You're going to be the road team. So I know back in the Lou days, they used to put the Devils in hotels, even for home games. They used to lock them up, exactly. I don't know if they're doing that anymore, but this is one of those things where you can start, really gearing towards that playoff run, and maybe start toying with some line combinations. You have this opportunity. It's kind of like a second preseason in a sense, because you can really toy around with some things going into the playoffs. You have that opportunity to do that starting right now that you may not want to take a risk with come game one of the first round.
In practice today, players that weren't dressing were shielded from the team. They did not skate together in practice. The game day practice was the guys playing in the game, and that's it. That's very playoffs. That's very playoffs.
Yeah. And this is the start, because our season ends on Wednesday, and then I have to assume that by Friday we'll be in game one. So a week from today, actually, I got to assume we'll be in game one of the playoffs, and that's really where the rubber meets the road, and that's where you have to win.
Actually, I'll bust your bubble. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I think it's going to start the week after, probably Monday, Wednesday, and then Friday, Sunday would be at 25th and 27th being at the Prudential Center. That's what the rumors are.
That's fine.
I would love that.
Yeah, they're always so vague this time of year that you never know, and it makes it hard to plan to go to games. But hey, this is what they're planning on doing, and it's not a surprise that it wouldn't be right away.
And why not tell us what days they are? Like,
I don't know.
You know their opponent. You know everything about the series. I don't need times. I just need to know what days. I just need days. I have a lot to plan around that. Like, with doing articles and this show, and there's a lot of commitment that a lot of people have that it revolve around when this stuff is, and they're just not going to tell you till like 3 days prior. It's very annoying. Very annoying.
Very, very annoying. But it's same thing. Like, they have an upper body injury, and that's all. The NHL does like to be vague at times.
Yep. Well, you know what? Here, I want to do a little bit of Carolina Hurricanes trash talking. I'm starting to step it up on Twitter. with the Carolina Hurricanes and my trash talking, or X is what you call it. So did you hear that teams do this for many years, but the geofencing of the playoff tickets down in Carolina, down in Raleigh, not allowing anyone outside the area to purchase tickets. I think that's been done before, but here's something very interesting. Half of Raleigh is basically New Jersey.
My friends in Chicago know that all too well. The only team around in the Central Division that doesn't black out Blackhawk fans is the Minnesota Wild, because the Minnesota Wild can sell out they could sell out a football stadium for a playoff game if they wanted to of their own fans, because it's Minnesota, the state of hockey. Mm-hmm. But like Nashville, Tampa Bay in the Stanley Cup final back in 2015 wasn't allowing Chicago area codes to purchase tickets. It's a thing like sometimes, and the fact that the New Jersey Devils are one of the teams that, and listen, I love, me with my love for the Devils, like I really don't take any opportunities to make fun of them, but they're not like this ginormous, team in terms of what market they come from. It's New Jersey. They're the second of 3 teams in the metro area. I would probably put the Islanders below them. But the Devils, they take a backseat to the Rangers and even the Flyers at this point. Washington and Pittsburgh are smaller, but they've had elite teams with all-time great players for the last 20 years, so they probably would sell a little better lately than the Devils. I'm shocked that the Carolina Hurricanes do this. I'm honestly appalled. Why wouldn't you want people at your game?
I like it. I think it gives you that home ice advantage, and it's not.
It does do that.
Like we see in our building with the stupid Rangers. It was at least 50-50, if not 60-40 blue the other day. And it's annoying to see an opposing team jersey behind your bench or down low. I am not against it. If you want to go and you want to travel, you should have an opportunity to buy through your team, and this way they kind of put you in one specific spot. But other than that, make it as home ice and as home crowd friendly for your team in the playoffs. This is the type of stuff you got to do. I'm all for that kind of thing.
This is soccer shorts talking. I love it. You just persuaded me. Soccer shorts guy. It's all about the fans and going banana lands for giving a home field, home ice advantage. Soccer
supporter
shorts guy.
section. That's a concept. Supporter section.
Oh, don't even give the Devils front office an idea, because they're going to want to just do nothing but capitalize on it. I was just watching the triple overtime of a Swedish Hockey League game, and they have supporter sections with flags and drums, and I'm about ready to move to Sweden so I can support a team over there and have that kind of culture, because there's no way the Devils would allow that here, because they can't profit off of it.
I've got a question, and I got Anthony LaPenna right next to me right now. Anthony LaPenna. Now, Nick Villano on the State of the Fan address mentioned about getting autographs, that it's only for kids only. And he's got 2 kids here. They got autographs all day, Maverick and Tori. But Anthony LaPenna, being an adult, was able to score some autographs on his jersey. And Anthony, I'm going to ask you, is it really just for kids, or can adults get autographs from professional hockey players themselves?
Oh, not at all. I don't see anything wrong with adults getting autographs as well. I mean, it's a once-in-a-lifetime or a rare opportunity sometimes, especially if you're traveling from somewhere out of state like we did.
Well, show us some of your autographs. You have to turn around. Now, be careful. You got the headset on.
Yeah. Oh, I'm taking it off.
Yeah, take off the headset. There. All right. Yep. See if you can see it on his Nico Hischier 3rd jersey. Turn the other way. Yep, the other way. On the one, there's autographs everywhere. Nicely done, too.
Is this going to be the last day you wear that jersey is my question.
Maybe not.
Because I'm picturing like throwing it in a frame. I'm picturing like throwing it in a frame and then hanging it in your bathroom or somewhere sick where everyone could see it. No, I'm kidding. Like downstairs though, like by like an entertainment system where you have a bunch of sports memorabilia. That would be awesome.
Maybe right on the walkway where people walk in is the first thing they see.
Yeah, I always said bathroom as
Yeah.
a joke because, like, if I ever had like an album go platinum or something, that's the only place you're guaranteed every single person that comes in your house is going to see it.
If it was a Rangers
That
jersey,
was always
yes.
yeah. Well,
Right
then
above
it would
the
be like
toilet.
the mat. It would be the mat on the floor right in front of the toilet.
Yeah,
or a doormat.
New York Rangers urinal cakes. Yeah, if you remember
Yeah,
them.
yeah. I was
back
gonna
in the
say,
day.
doesn't Sam Wu have Yankee toilet paper? That's what I always thought.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah,
Mama's a
that's really
Yankees
cool.
fan.
Yeah, I'm all for getting the occasional autograph. I mean, I've seen some adults that are just there with like handfuls of pucks that they're getting these autographs to put them on eBay. But if you want to legitimately go get an autograph from a player, I as an adult, I don't see any problem with that. If it's one of those things, Anthony, like you said, a once every so often time where you get to come up
Yeah.
here. You have to seize that opportunity. I love getting jerseys of players that I have signed, and then I kind of put them away because that's a cool thing that you can do. So I'm all for
Right.
adults getting autographs.
And some of the players are really cool. They took time. They got out of their vehicles. Some stayed in. They let the kids take pictures with them, and it was a phenomenal experience for them, and giving memories to future generation Devils fans to come, and something they
It's
can pass on to
exactly
their
what-
kids.
Exactly what you want.
Exactly.
I
tell
think
you-
the
Go
weirdos
ahead.
made it difficult
Yes.
for guys like Anthony trying to get an autograph. There
Yeah.
are a ton of weirdos
Yeah,
out there.
there are.
I hate to say there was one guy out there standing there, and he was it was kind of awkward. I mean, I could see like some of the guys were kind of like a little hesitant. They're like, "Oh yeah, why not? Come on!" And he said he's out there quite frequently, and that's kind of like borderline stalking.
Is he 5'7"?
No, he's really tall.
Oh, he's really tall. Oh, all right.
Real tall.
I'm thinking of somebody else, but anyway. I know all those creepers.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I'm the weird guy, but I'm harmless. Like, my Rangers suck, sign. I had some Devils players in the past sign it. And you talk about trying to preserve those autographs. And a couple of years ago, Shorts guy, if you remember when we were on the big stage out in Edison Place during the playoffs, that Rangers suck sign was making its way.
It was making its rounds. Yeah.
All over Edison Place. And you know what? It's funny because when I see on Facebook, I see people holding that sign and that's their profile picture. I always add them as a friend just because that's my sign. But nobody really adds me. But anyway. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think we need to get predictions in. It's that
We
time.
do. And keep in mind, Jake Allen starting for the New Jersey Devils while wearing their black jerseys.
Tori met him today. Gave him a squishy of hers.
Oh, cool.
Really?
Very good.
Really?
Predictions.
By the way, Tori's going to defend me tonight from all the Girl Scouts that want my head.
Red belt in karate.
Red belt in karate.
Good.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Tori is your
Enforcer.
I can't enforcer. Yes, thank you.
Bodyguard.
Yeah.
Your Cam Jansen.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to get some of the predictions. By the way, I have a little beef with one of the comments. I think it was Jay Snow saying that Penn State, chokes
It was.
all the time. This is what I have to say. Overall, Penn State sports has more national championships in this decade in all their sports combined than any other NCAA Division I schools. So, as what Beer Baron would say, you could go cram it with walnuts.
I mean, they also made it to the Final Four in football and hockey. That's quite the run.
Yeah.
Most people would sign up for that.
Yeah.
Okay, you lost to BU and you lost to Notre Dame, who are the biggest names in their sport, arguably. And so to say the program's coming along in both sports would be an understatement.
But hey, at least Penn State lost to a former Devils, up-and-coming Devils goalie. Yegorov is phenomenal, I think.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of their games.
And former Devils player. Jay Pandolfo was a good player.
Yes.
I was going to say the same thing.
All right. Some of these
The Jay
predictions.
Pandolfo love from me and Shorts Guy is off the hook. and it's not stopping anytime soon.
No, Pandolfo
Nope.
was amazing.
Good
when he
old
played
stone
here.
hands.
Stone hands.
Absolutely.
or pan fall down.
Pan fall down. I remember that. I just loved when he scored. Doc would go, Pandolfo! It was just a better call than everybody else's name because of the way it was.
Yeah. Joseph Lenham says 6-2 Devils. Wimpy says 8-6 Devils. Select Boy says 5-2 Devils. Kennedy Ray 6-5 Devs. Felix says 5-2 Devils. Caitlin says 3-0 Devils. Eddie says 4-1 Devils. AJ Visco, the law offices of AJ Visco. Slip on a crack, need some money, go to AJ Visco to get the compensation you deserve. He's saying 5-0. Devils. Devils ice the Pens. Let's see here. Joseph says, let's go Devils. 5-3 Devils, he says. Mike Rossi, also a resident of Raleigh, North Carolina. He knows what I'm talking about. It's 60% people from New Jersey and New York down there. 4-1 Devils. Brat hits 70 assists. Brooke Amanda says 9-2 Devils. Niner,
Wow.
like 9 as a
Been
niner.
watching Sam Wu too long.
That's.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like I'm an influencer right now. That she says 9. Influencer. Or maybe she just knows more than I do, and she's got the intel. I don't know. Either or.
Possible.
Could be. I don't know.
I think he missed survey with his 5-3 Devils prediction too. So there's another one.
I was scrolling.
You read right over it.
Yeah, Wimpy says Cody Glass hat trick.
Take
Let's
it.
ask Anthony LaPena. Who do you think is going to win?
Oh, I think Devils are going to take it for sure. I'm going to say 6-3.
6-3 Devils. Maverick?
7 is for Devils and 2 for Pittsburgh.
And then we got Tori, the red belt karate kid right here. Yeah, what are you going to say?
What was it about?
Devils, Penguin scores.
The Devils are the 5, and then the Penguins are the 0.
Whoa!
Wow.
A shutout. Jake the Snake Allen, who got a squishy thing from Tori, the
Gonna
good
be good
luck
luck.
charm.
Yep.
Now, if that happens, Tori, you're going to have to come to every Devils home game and get Jake Allen a gift.
Yep.
Do you realize what you have done? Because
Enjoy
that's
those 14-hour car rides, Dad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
You got to do what you got to do.
Going to need donations for gas money.
Yeah.
And, Devils messages.
We'll
You
start a
can send it to-
Patreon for you.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah, believe me, if that's a 5-0 victory, there will be a Patreon. Just remember that podcast gets a 10% cut. Anyway,
Well, where do you think he's staying?
anyway, Vinny, what do you think? What do you think the prediction?
I think the Devils come out of this one with a 3-2 victory.
3-2
I expect
victory.
a couple of Ray Shero impacted players to go out there and have a big game.
Wow. Alrighty. Well, Mike Rossi, I stand corrected. So I would say 80-20. 80-20 New Jersey versus native North Carolinians in Raleigh. Very interesting.
Wow.
Shorts guy, what is your prediction?
I'm going to go with the score of 6-2 tonight for the Devils over the Penguins.
All right.
Shorts guy looked at their Ryan Graves being their top defensive defenseman and went, no, thank
Who's in
you.
net for Pittsburgh?
I believe it's Jari, but I could triple check that before we end the program.
All right. While you're triple checking, I got to give my prediction. I think I'm going to be a copycat.
It's Jari.
Because the red belt karate kid said 5-0. I'm going to say 5-0 too.
Wow. Copycat.
I'm going to be a copycat. I'm going to copy Tori just because she gave that little squishy thing to Jake the Snake Allen, and that's going to make the difference of this game.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
She's all smiles over there now.
Yeah, now she's smiling. Before she was so shy to come on the podcast. Now she's just a social butterfly here at American Whiskey, one of the most infamous family bar restaurants on Edison Place. Come to American Whiskey. Now the attic has opened on the 3rd floor. The attic is like freaking crowded out there. I
can't wait to get back.
I'm in the studio room. This is called what we call an experiment. We got lounge couches there. We got Rick and Julie here. You know, they're doing their taxes while they're, watching us live. That's how awesome it is up on the 3rd floor. You can bring your laptop, get
nice.
work done, but you can also go out there and party with your fellow Devils fans. We will be back in the attic for Devils After Dark after the game. Scotty, a SiriusXM, Liquid Metal, and I will recap the game that was. I'm sure it's going to be a 5-0 victory, right, Tori? As she's drinking orange soda. Yep, she just nodded yes. So we're going to get out of here. I want to thank all those tuning in. I want to thank all those in this little new studio as we're broadcasting out.
Really
People
snazzy.
are leaving for the game right now, so we'll be back. Thank you, Short Sky. Thank you, Vinny. Thank you to all those on YouTube Live. And Jay Snow, I'll forgive you later, but it still stings what you said about Penn State, but that's all right.
That was rough.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, there's the music, guys.
Been fun, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Yep.
And my family.
Yep.
Anthony, good to see you.
Thank you for joining.
Yep. All right. We'll see you for Devils After Dark after the game. Devils, Penguins. Till next time. Let's go, Devils.